Hello, Barmy Badger Army.
Hey, Badger Army.
Welcome to the show today on
The
Bench. We've got a show stacked full of delicious content for you all, and we are going to be talking about Monty Python's
Terry Jones, who sadly passed away earlier this week,
and Love Island, Apu,
which is still going,
Apu,
who may be still going,
and much more, including Opal Fruits making their return to the UK after a gajillion years. So nostalgia overload. Right, okay, Nick's going to start off talking about Monty Python with us all, because I was never really a fan of Monty Python growing up. I preferred more Carry On and things like that, Barbara Windsor and all that sort of humour. So Nick knows a lot more about him than me. So fire away, Nicholas.
Well, Terry Jones, of course, sadly passed away earlier this week. Monty Python, and he was He was probably best known for in the Life of Brian, uttering that line: "He's not the Messiah. He's a very naughty boy."
He's not the Messiah. He's just a naughty boy.
In that one, yes, high-pitched voices like that are not my strong point, and one of my favourite sketches of his was the giant man who was eating everything.
Just
and
one
then
more
right at the
wafer
end,
thin mint.
Then John Cleese gives him one more wafer thin mint and
Waffle.
boom!
Blood and guts flying everywhere.
Still appeals, and the thing is, when they were filming that, people were actually throwing up because of the smell.
I actually think that I was actually horrified at that as a child. I was like, this isn't funny, this is scary. So wait a minute, you said the smell. Did they use real meat?
They used lots of stuff, I think, because a lot of it was,
Flashbacks to Sam Raimi's Evil Dead.
back in those days, you know, you
They
really
would
had
have
to make do with what you have. You know, we didn't have CGI back then.
CGI, just rotting carcasses and bits
Indeed.
of smelly plastic.
Indeed. So yes, I imagine lots of real stuff was involved, but was just out on set for hours.
Ugh.
Got sorted there. But yes, of course that was. So, but yeah, you know, he was so full. There was with Monty Python. I mean, I really liked the. I really liked like the cartoon element. I liked how sort of genuine. It's something. I mean, a lot of it kind of went over my head when I was a kid, but I came to appreciate it more just for how madcap it was.
Yes, I see where you're coming
I did
from.
enjoy the madcap nature.
I
of
mean,
it.
my sense of humour did actually evolve, you know, after a while. I started liking more slapstick stuff. Jack D for the dryness. I don't know if you've heard of Jack D, but he's very funny. Obviously, you know, Carry On Camping, so all that sort of Carry On stuff. Harry Hill, you know, all those sorts of guys. It was very sarcastic and a very mixture of sort of dryness is there. You know, I'll never forget, there was this one particular sketch of Jack D's that always made me laugh, where he used to talk about celebrities, draw their face on an egg, and then
Put it in
a microwave and blow it up. And I don't know.
Oh, so funny.
I don't know why that sticks in my memory, but it always does. And obviously Harry Hill, where he goes, "There's only one way to find out: fight!" And that sort of stuff. You know, it's just
I love
really
that kind of
silly stuff.
visual slapstick style.
Yeah,
humour.
visual slapstick, and also the saucy stuff with Barbara Windsor, where
Yep.
you know, I'm not going to mention it too much, but you can lead it to your imagination.
Yeah,
But just put it this way: as a young badger, I did have a soft spot for Barb Windsor, and
I think everyone did back then.
yeah, that and Jessica Rabbit, but we don't talk about that because that's just a bit.
Yeah,
random.
fair enough. But yeah, I mean, you know, when you consider Monty Python, and it was probably quite avant-garde for its time.
I suppose it was very much so.
particularly the animated stuff.
Yeah, I also liked Not the 9 O'Clock News with Rowan Atkinson.
I never really watched that at the time,
Really?
but I've found a couple of clips of it which
Yeah.
are quite good.
For some reason, a while back, I found like an old record of it, which was strange. Like you could,
Oh yeah, they had loads of random songs attached to it, didn't they?
Yeah, it was like a record. It was like a load of songs, but then it had like a show inbuilt with it. So it was like, it was all on a record. It was very strange, but very interesting. Records, they're those big bits of plastic that you shove on a
Vinyl.
record player. Yes, vinyl.
Yeah, vinyl.
And you play it, and a needle goes. Rah, 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 rah.
But one thing I will say about Monty Python is they did a compilation film called "And Now for Something Completely Different."
Oh, okay. I've heard of that, but I never knew it was in there.
Yeah, it's probably my all-time favourite film.
Ooh, okay.
It probably is. It was just so much fun to watch. I think it's that bit of me that really likes sketch comedy.
Yes.
I mean, it probably, and a lot of people might not necessarily regard it as like a proper sort of feature film. It's more like a compilation, but they put it in film slots. So yeah.
Excellent. Let's go.
I
for
really
that.
like it.
Okay, so let us know your favourite bits and pieces of Monty Python in the comments, and I'm hoping to do this as a premiere, guys, so make sure you're interactive, chatting about Monty Python and your favourite comedies in the chat.
And there's also loads of sketches now around on YouTube. The ones I would look out for are Storytime, which is really, really funny, and Being Seen and Not Being Seen. That one's pretty madcap.
Okay,
but,
cool.
But yeah,
and
might
now,
appreciate it.
On to our next topic.
And what will that be? We have such a choice.
Opal Fruits.
Opal Fruits.
Opal Fruits. Remember Opal Fruits? A while back,
There's
they were replaced by Starburst, and everyone was like, what the hell is this?
Was it just a name change, or did they actually do stuff with it?
Apparently, I was speaking to the boss earlier, and she said they did make a slight change because lemon and lime became one flavour, whereas before with Opal Fruits, apparently they were two separate.
You had a yellow one and a green one.
That's right, but with Starburst, they had the two together, and I'm guessing they added an extra one on top.
Blimey.
So apparently it is going to take a little while, and it is only going to be for a limited edition period of time, and I'm guessing they're going to obviously capitalise on a special anniversary or a special event, or just to make sure that us oldies are buying Opal Fruits again. Because if you think, right, I don't know about you, but everyone gets obsessed with Haribos and things like that. I don't really reach for the Starburst, but I can guarantee you I will be buying at least a couple of packets of Opal Fruits and doing taste tests. So it's a great marketing scheme to get people back into Starburst / Opal Fruits, because you're going to reach for that nostalgia, aren't you? What are your thoughts, Nick?
Well, there's probably a whole generation of kids who don't know that Starburst was once Opal Fruits.
Marathon and Snickers, etc., etc.
Well, I mean, that was in the 90s, I think that
Most
was.
definitely.
So, yeah, there's a whole generation of those. Well, you know what? I'm always a big fan of bringing back a few things, if only for
That's
a bit.
right.
You know, ultimately we have to keep progressing forward, not looking back all the time.
That's
but,
right.
It's good to look back on sometimes on those things.
Nostalgia and things like that. I mean, we were obviously talking in the Discord. If you're not a member of the Badger Show Discord, please do join. But we're obviously on a bit of a nostalgia hit there as well. We've been talking about Batman versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and all these old school crossovers like with Visionaries and things like that in comic books that are very interesting. Comic books and retro stuff is big news, so let me know your thoughts on that as well. I'm just going to shoehorn that topic in as well, because we're talking about it a lot on the Discord. Let me know your thoughts on retro comic books and retro IPs coming back in and being popular.
It's one of the things where it's just kind of like they just kind of like go away and come back again. I mean, that's been the case for years. I mean, we were talking last year. You know, last year was the 80th anniversary of Batman's first comic book appearance.
That's correct, yes. And also, I believe it was last year or the year before, Bill Finger finally got noticed that he actually had a significant amount of effort in Batman's development. Before, it just said Bob Kane, and I think it was either last year or the year before, don't quote me, argue with me in the comments, that he actually got recognised as being part of the Batman mythos and helping create it. So big shout out to Bill Finger's family. Very good stuff. Right, next we're going to talk about The Simpsons with Apu, and the gentleman in question leaving the show pretty much, or does he stay on the show, Nick?
Hank Azaria voices several characters.
Okay.
Including Apu, which is spelled APU, in case you're wondering why we're talking about that. And he has announced that he is no longer voicing that character.
Now,
there was a bit of kind of like controversy about it.
Is it to do with racism, do you think?
I reckon it could be, because the thing is, it's ultimately a white man impersonating an Asian.
Yeah.
And you know, the thing is, it's like, it's so much easier to get. I mean, back in those.
Isn't he Indian?
Indian. Asian, Indian, South Asian.
Okay.
And I think the thing is, when The Simpsons first started, we didn't have
Rewind back 30 years or something insane.
They didn't have the means of finding voice actors or who were the same ethnicity as the characters was difficult.
Most definitely, because I'm guessing that back then there wouldn't have been many opportunities for people of those lifestyles and that sort of areas,
those ethnicities,
those ethnicities, to be part of the show. So it's very interesting. But then I think it's taken a long time. That's 30 years. And to be honest, I love The Simpsons, and Apu will always be Apu. So why have they now decided to change it? Just because a few people have moaned. And don't get me wrong, I love political correctness, and I love the fact that when people stand up for what's right is right, but surely people are used to it now. I don't know. What are your thoughts, Nick? Should they have changed it, or do you think it's too little too late?
I wouldn't necessarily say it was too little too late as such. I do. The thing is, it's like Apu, kind of like he's voiced in a certain way, appealing to a certain character.
Yeah.
Is it appealing to a certain stereotype?
Or,
and we've been trying to get away from stereotypes.
Is it obviously racist humour in a way? Do you feel that might be an issue?
There might have been a few storylines where that comes in. I mean, is Apu like a main point of focus?
Yeah, he was in the earlier episodes, but I'm not too sure now. It's been a while since I've watched The Simpsons.
It's kind of down to that thing. So, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily put it all down to political correctness. Can you say, it's probably very easy for them to bring in a South Asian voice actor.
That's right, maybe they will now. I mean, there was rumours that they were going to kill off the character / get rid of his part, or maybe have him in the cartoon but not speaking.
Yeah, he was kind of like being slowly drawn out.
Similar to what they did with the chef when Isaac Hayes died, things like that. So maybe they'll do something similar to that. I'm not sure. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I mean, the show's been going on for a long time. I personally feel, drama alert here, Simpsons is a bit past its sell-by date.
I mean, it has been going for like 30 years now.
I think
and it's like...
the fact that it's still going now is an achievement, don't get me wrong, but wouldn't it be nice that they did something similar to Futurama, where they rounded it off nicely, the characters had a happy ending, everything sort of slowly progressed. Maybe they did an episode of what happened to the characters later on. Maybe they need to move it forward a little bit. Like what they did with that Rugrats TV show where you saw when they were older. It was terrible.
Because it became all grown up, didn't it?
Yeah, Rugrats grown up. It was terrible, but it served a purpose. It moved the characters along. Indeed. Any other ideas, Nick, on that?
So yeah, I think that, but yeah, I just think the thing is, it's like a show like The Simpsons. They've not shied away from featuring characters of different ethnicities, of different lifestyles.
Senor Bumblebee Man would be another one. Mexican.
And it's like, and I think in a lot of ways, people look to TV shows like that. It's a bit like the same way people look to soaps to portray certain characters as well. It's all about using what you have as a positive influence.
That's right. So do they feel that maybe the Apu character no longer was a positive influence and they needed to switch things up?
Maybe. He was, and also the thing is, he's a stereotypical Indian shop owner.
I know, it's a bit near the mark, isn't it?
Well, not even near the mark. It's like, are there still as many of those as there now were? A lot of. I mean, I think I remember hearing about how a lot of, second, third generation Indians are, in this country and other countries as well, are kind of moving away from that particular area and going into other areas of work.
That's right, yeah.
Is it kind of like, move forward of society? So, it's like that kind of stereotype that, okay, there are still Indian-owned post offices and the like, and there may well always be, but, is it just them kind of looking at how there's a lot more of people of those ethnicities, nationalities, who are kind of moving away from that area.
That's an interesting point. That's a very interesting point. And of course, I'd love to know your thoughts in the description and on the comments. Right, what are we going to talk about next, Nick? let's have a roundup of last week while we remember what else we're going to talk about.
There was one other thing that we're going to talk about, which I was mentioning for dramatic impact, but I like the sound of that more.
We will talk about, obviously, our thoughts with Nikki Tutorials, and a big thank you to everyone who obviously gave us the green light and big thumbs up, how we handled the topics. Very interesting topic, a very near the mark topic, and I'm glad that people were pleased with how we handled it. That was very pleasing, and thank you very much to all of you guys who know a lot more about LGBT and things like that than myself, and I'm really pleased that you guys responded well to that video. I'm really pleased that that went down well. Thank you very much for the positive feedback.
Yes, thank you.
What else are we going to talk about, Nick?
Well, we're going to have to talk about Love Island at some
Love
point,
Island?
aren't we? Now, I mean, the thing is, I mean, I remember when it...
Outdated concept.
Yes. I mean, it first came around sometime, was it in the early noughties? It was one of the
Maybe
things,
it was, yeah.
It was one of the things that they launched in like on the Big Brother bandwagon.
I know, you're right.
Where they had couples going to this island with a bunch of other vaguely attractive looking people, and it was some kind of fidelity test. I don't know if is that what it's about now?
I guess so. I mean, to be honest with you, without being too crude, I'm guessing it's all about the young ladies in swimsuits finding men not wearing much and deciding if they fancy each other. Hardly a very productive storyline / thing that you should be doing in 2020.
What's even the appeal of it?
I don't really
People
understand.
have nothing else to do at the time.
Drama alert!
Yeah.
But it's true though, it's an outdated concept. Literally, you're spending about an hour and a half oogling at men and women in swimsuits trying to date each other, and it's a cheap way to become famous. And it just doesn't really work anymore.
And the thing is, I think if you go on shows like that, you know, you might well end up being, if that ends up being the best thing you're known for, then that's like you're that person from that show. You know, when you consider how many stereotypes there are with that show. I mean, I remember a former personal trainer of mine started trying to ask me if I'd go on Celebrity Big Brother. The fact that I'm not that famous aside, I was just like, you know, that's a terrible program. They just want people to fight with each other all the time.
This is true. I mean, originally, Big Brother was a genuine social experiment. And obviously, as it's gone along, it was just done for drama and effect. A show I do like that does that, though, is The Circle, which I feel handles it well. And if you've not seen The Circle, it's basically a load of people in separate rooms trying to figure out different information about each other via a small enclosed internet. So basically they all talk to each other and they all discuss different topics and things like that and try and rat each other out if they're catfishes or not. And obviously the more people that go, then it whittles down to 2 or 3, and then there's a winner, and that winner may actually be a catfish and not even be telling the truth. It's fantastic viewing, and I feel that is a definite interesting evolution, that's not even a word, of the Big Brother concept. But Love Island, I feel, if it needs to survive, needs to change. It's similar to shows like, obviously, Geordie Shore, things like that. It needs to modernise. They're rubbish. Don't get me wrong, I'm addicted to Geordie Shore, but I know it's pure trash, and I know it needs to evolve and change with the times. And hopefully Love Island and things like that might happen. I mean, I was very interested. I was going to put this comment out there, but we're running out of time. Why don't they, and I might be wrong here, because obviously if you're a big fan of Love Island, I don't know, but why don't they start including same-sex couples, different ethnicities, different people of different backgrounds, all sorts of different things like that. It always seems to be rich people in swimsuits. Can we have some variation here? You're never going to get that bloke John from Harold Hill, who's slightly overweight and a bit knackered, finding a girlfriend on Love Island. And why not? They need to change it up, make it a bit more interesting, make it a bit more modern. Your thoughts before we go, Nick?
I think really they're just kind of the thing is, it's not even kind of like people as they're naturally known. They're just trying to kind of like, they're just kind of forcing them to be dramatic and forcing them to behave in certain ways towards each other. You know,
exactly. It's all scripted and things like that.
It just seems as unnatural as them.
Indeed, and they're all in like safe houses and things like that, and different hotels and stuff. There's no realism there. It's just a load of old tosh.
This is the main issue that I have with the term reality TV. It's not reality. I remember my media studies teacher in school saying, you can't film reality. I mean, this here between this, you know, what you are looking at on a screen. Obviously, we're really here, and we really look like
We're not
this.
really in a wood. That's actually just a piece of paper.
Well, that aside, you're seeing a flat image. There's a building in front of us that isn't taken in. You can't see the bottom of our bodies. You know, you can't see all this stuff that we've got on the table in front of us. It's basically this is a flat image. You know, the video that you see is not reality because there's lots of other things going on at the same time.
Welcome to the Twilight Zone.
You know, well, I think we've come to accept over the years that it can only see a certain part of what's going on.
I've come to accept that, part of me just sees myself like this. I am a man in a box. And on that note, thank you very much for watching. If you're watching the premiere, I really do hope you've joined in the discussion, had a good old chat with me and Nick. And thank you very much for everyone that donates and helps the show. And a big thank you to all of my moderators. You guys are epic. Thank you very much. See you all real soon. This has been a hoot. Join in the discussion. And remember, there's no right or wrong here. We just want to hear your thoughts. It's going to be fantastic. See you all later. Bye.
See you later.
Bye from me.
And bye from him.
Bye.
And me.
Bye.
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 Press the button.
No.
Press the button.
Yes.